I'm not just interested in high performance in sport, but high performance in any sort of performance context, whether that's military, business, emergency services. I'm interested in what is it about a person's psychology that allows them to do extraordinary things. And what I'd like to do is to give you a bit of a whistle-stop tour around psychological traits of high performance. And what we're looking at when we talk about high performance, or the psychological traits around high performance, is the performance mindset. So I've kind of, within my business, within my consultancy, I've kind of coined the phrase warrior mindset. So I've used that with all different types of athletes. And basically, it's just a compilation of different types of psychological traits or different characteristics of psychological mindset which high-performing individuals tend to demonstrate. So I'm not just interested in high performance in sport, but high performance in any sort of performance context, whether that's military, business, emergency services. I'm interested in what is it about a person's psychology that allows them to do extraordinary things. And I'm a great believer that everyone has the characteristics of a warrior mindset, of a high performance mindset. It's just about really getting the athlete to understand that and for them to take control of the choices they make. On from that, the US Navy SEALs then talk about the idea of sniper sights. And once you've decluttered the battlefield and got rid of the irrelevant and the unhelpful and the negative and the distracting, you're left with what is really the key cues, the key things that you have to do and take information from. And so the US Navy SEALs talk about sniper sight, really focusing in just on those one or two key things that you have to do at that particular time to be world class, to be the best that you can be. As soon as your sniper sight starts to broaden out, you start to become distracted, you start to attune to unhelpful things. So decluttering the battlefield, and then once you've decluttered that battlefield, really focusing your sight on what you have to do at that moment in time to be successful. Another key trait of high-performing individuals is the idea of acceptance. And when I introduce this to athletes all sometimes think that acceptance is a passive sort of trait. You just accept the situation that you're in. But for me, acceptance is it is accepting the situation you're in, but only once you truly accept the kind of performance parameters, the performance demands, the environment in which you have to perform in, can you then start to perform. Because if you don't accept the limitations or the strengths of the environment you're in, you will always be moaning that this isn't right, or we should have this, or we should have a better referee, or the referee should make better decisions. As soon as you accept what the cards you've been dealt, then you can play your best game within those parameters. The idea of confidence is a huge one, and confident people is a huge one in relation to performance. Confidence is, very simplistically, the belief that you'll be successful. So what I think is more important than just confidence. When the majority of people talk about confidence, they talk about it from a quantity perspective. So they talk a lot about having high confidence or low confidence, which is fine because there is a quantity dimension to confidence. What is spoke about less often is the robustness of confidence. And I think that is a key one which high-performing athletes have. Their confidence remains even after many setbacks. It's okay having a really high confidence, but if that confidence is really fragile, you're struggling. High performance individuals have unbreakable belief. They have really, really robust, resilient confidence. So optimism is the belief that everything will be alright. And when we look at optimism, we can look at it, and it's important to acknowledge we're talking about functional optimism, realistic and rational optimism. And optimism is a key trait. Optimists have far more content, happier lives in every sort of performance arena and just well-being that you can imagine. You know, the research is almost a landslide of research. Optimism is a functional, rational optimism is a trait of high-performing people. People who are more optimistic will do better than people who are generally pessimistic. So how can you shift people towards thinking in a more optimistic manner, for having more optimistic go-to responses than more pessimistic ones, and getting them to think in that way? Which again, you know, is linked in with what we've talked about before. You know, staying in the present and the solution focus might fail. Optimism is a crossroads, it's not a cliff. When we catastrophize things, when we fail to maintain our perspective, we're a bit like Wile E. Coyote, you know, going off the edge of the cliff. You know, we think it's a disaster. It's a catastrophe. Everything falls apart. You know, when something happens that was unexpected or is not helpful, it just requires us to make a decision. It's not all black and white. It's not either brilliant or really bad. We just need to make a decision about it. How do we make best decisions? Think clearly under pressure. We think more rationally. So high-performing people are able to maintain perspective far more effectively than other people. So think about how that can be integrated into what you do, and how you can develop that with the athletes that you work with. Another idea is the idea of being non-judgmental. And so that's linked with a lot of the things that we've spoken about. Now, I spend a lot of time working with athletes and a lot of time working with people in all sorts of different areas about high performance. And when we have a setback, yeah, it's not great. So an athlete might get injured. You know, that wasn't on their bucket list. They didn't want to get injured. You know, it's not something they were actively seeking out. It's something that's happened. But when something has happened, it is just something that's happened. We need to encourage athletes to view what has just happened without making a judgment about it.
Thanks for watching this highlight clip. If you want to watch this entire presentation, head over to strengthcoachnetwork.com, and for $1, you can try out the whole site for 24 hours, no strings attached, and get access to this presentation and hundreds more just like it.